Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's live stream. You are with your host Tesla Tom. Nice to meet you all, nice to see you all in the chat there. Thanks for joining us tonight. Got a great show lined up for you as always. Tonight we're talking deliveries across the major EV brands in Australia. We're going to compare them all tonight and get some first-hand experiences as well from a special guest too, who's taken a delivery of a BYD Atto 3 here in Australia. So that'd be great to hear a first-hand account, and of course our regular guests. Let's bring them on right now onto the stream. We've got Riz Akhtar from Carloop, and of course Mr. Rahul Prasad as well. Hello gents, nice to see you both as always.
Hey Tom, hey Rahul, excited to be here.
And likewise, great to be back this week again, gentlemen.
Excellent, yeah, indeed, nice to have you both too. And of course, we are talking deliveries. So Rahul, we might get your experiences too later on. As we know, you've just taken delivery of a beautiful Model Y here in Melbourne. So yeah, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, well, we might just quickly run through some housekeeping and then we'll get to our guest on the chat too. So let's pop this on. So today is the 8th of September 2022. I might just quickly plug my Tesla Model S again that is available for sale. Officially now, it's a listing on Facebook and also Gumtree. If you're interested, go check that out. We're going to list it on car sales later this week, probably tomorrow. So check that out too. There are all the stats right there. 2015 70D, vintage AP1 CU2. Still says 330 kilometers of range, which is pretty accurate. I've done a couple of range tests this week already, asking 79,000 or nearest offer. So thank you very much. We'll go check that out for yourself on Facebook or Gumtree, and also car sales later on. And yeah, let's talk about EV delivery day experience. So to do that, we might get our special guest on tonight as well. Joining us tonight from sunny Queensland is Paul. Hey Paul, how's it going?
Gentlemen, hi. Thanks for the invitation to join you tonight.
You are more than welcome. And I believe you're a bit of a seasoned veteran when it comes to deliveries for BYD vehicles in Australia. How many have you got right now?
Still out the front of the house is 3. And I managed to buy an E6 and a T3 back early in last year when they first were mooted. They were bringing them out, right? And I got the E6 first, and we did a delivery through my car at Stafford here in Queensland, and the guys ran us through. It was their first one, of course, you know. And we got through with the my car team there, and we had quite a few of the boys around to say hello and see what it was going to be like. And then the second one was back through my car again at Stafford, the T3, the little van, and that was an easy delivery, little commercial van, courier van. Wasn't a lot to do. Off with the checklist, beautifully detailed, and I was gone in half an hour, you know, or less, you know. Okay. So very easy, the first two, you know. The Atto 3 only picked up a couple of days ago, and it was from the Indrapilli Automart there, and had a little bit of trouble. Lucky I went to the opening there the week before, or the 2 weeks before, because I knew where it was, and that you had to go to the top floor in the car park around the corner. But that was another smooth delivery. It's, you know, park in the car park, down 2 flights of elevators into the BYD showroom section, where I was greeted immediately by Justin by name, and went, "Oh, you must be Paul. You've got the blue Atto. Let me go and check to make sure it's 100% correct." And I reckon we were there. He did a fantastic handover also, but he spent a lot of time in the car with us because of the new technology, and it's a beautiful upgrade from the E6 to the Atto 3.
Very good. So how long do you reckon you spent for the Atto 3? Because we want my focus on that, obviously, because of all the impending deliveries across the country. How long were you there, do you reckon, with Justin?
45 minutes at least.
Wow.
He was very pedantic,
okay.
Very informative. There wasn't a sales pitch at all, because it was just information, you know, go gadget go with, you know, here's the screen, and there is probably 12 or 13 different little apps already on it, let alone operating the air conditioning and, the sunroof. It's just fantastic.
Yep. Obviously, you're a seasoned BYD owner, and do you think it would have been adequate for a first-time EV owner?
Yes, because it got you on the road, it got you moving, and it gave you confidence with the vehicle. As I drove home back to the sunny coast, 132 kilometres from Indooroopilly, I could, cruise control, no problems. Even got it to lane assist. And I went, oh, God, I'm smart. But I had my grandson, who was only 6, beside us, and he was operating most of it.
Nothing wrong with a bit of help.
Oh, no, certainly needed it,
Now, were you the only one, Paul, at the delivery centre when you
At
took a
that
car?
time, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's only one of us there. The whole process probably was about an hour and 5 minutes. We were back in the car and gone, So it's another SMIC process, really,
Now, that's really interesting because, obviously people who watch the channel will know that, when I attend deliveries for Tesla, it's basically a warehouse full of cars, and, you can take as long as you want to ask the reps question, or you can just drive off if it's your second or third Tesla or whatever. But it's interesting that BYD is still focusing on the single customer experience for now, which I think is not a bad thing to do, given they're a new brand in Australia. What do you think, Paul? Do you think, as they become more established, do you reckon that might be a move for BYD moving forward? That sort of multi-delivery day process?
What I do see, gentlemen, is the number of BYDs that have been ordered, and they're going to have to ramp up significantly to be able to deliver these Atto 3s. Tesla is a slick operation from walking in the front, door of the big barn to one name into a computer, and that's your car over there with the lights on. Off you go, go and check it out. And my experience there was my wife picking up her Tesla only about 10 days ago. And we were there for 45 minutes because she found a small blemish on the back and a small, maybe, something in the tyre, and we could hear the screams across the warehouse because it was a nice new Tesla. But again, off we went. It was over and done with, and she drove out with a big smile on her face, Fantastic.
Well, it's good to have that experience. You've now taken delivery of a Tesla and a BYD, so great to have you on the chat to discuss and compare. I might cross over to Rahul now, who's recently taken a Model Y delivery for our regular viewers. Rahul, does that sound familiar to what Paul was saying? Like that experience you could take as long as you want, and if you wanted, if there are any issues that look after you, that kind of thing?
Yeah, look, completely different experience for us. And not to say, that one or the other is good or bad, but just to preface that Model Y delivery, Angela and I obviously had the Model 3 prior, which we had accepted delivery in Melbourne in 2019. So we were well aware of, I guess, the delivery template that Tesla employs. And I guess post-COVID as well, particularly in Melbourne and Victoria, deliveries have been contactless for a while. It just works seamlessly. The fact that we also have a 5-month-old baby with us at delivery, we parked our Model 3 outside, took Bodhi along with us inside. And yeah, what Paul said was spot on. The lady at the counter just asked us what our names were. Bam, put it into the system, walked out the back. Tom, what you said was, right on the mark as well. It's a warehouse full of different models of Teslas sitting at the back, all very shiny, all very bright, but all very, quiet, obviously. They take you to your Tesla. The key cards are keyed into your Bluetooth phone, into your app. You pretty much, we just pretty much got in and just made sure that everything was working in order. Asked a few questions because we hadn't experienced some of the things in the Model Y as opposed to the Model 3. And then I think pretty much about 10 minutes later, we were out of the warehouse and driving on the road.
Yep.
And I think the other thing also in terms of knowing the Model Y or knowing your car with Model Y or with Tesla, with the app, with the website, there's videos that you can watch beforehand, the manual that you download beforehand as well. It just gives you so much information beforehand. If you've driven a Tesla before, you know what to expect. The other bit that really was seamless for us was that the Model 3 interface, the user interface, including all the driving bits, including all the interiors, is virtually similar to what the Model 3 and the Model Y have. I got in the car, it felt no different to driving the Model 3 internally than it did driving a new car, yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Raoul. And I just want to reiterate what Paul was saying, that Tesla's operation is slick. And it sounds like, Raoul, you had the same experience. They're pretty easy now. They know what they're doing. And as Paul said, with all these BYDs coming on, they will have to ramp up pretty quickly if they're expecting that many cars. And I'll just put this comment up here. Jeff was saying 4,500 orders in Australia, according to Luke Todd. I mean, that's still a lot of orders, they've got to get through in that initial batch anyway. It's good that they're doing one at a time for new customers, but that's going to have to ramp up pretty quickly.
Correct. And I would, sorry, Tom, I'd just quickly like to add as well, at no point did Angela and I ever feel that Tesla were, rushing us or pushing us out through the door. The conversation that we had with the customer service reps was, take all the time you need. It's an easy, relaxed day for us. There's not that many deliveries, but at the same time, if you know all the information, if you're comfortable with it, feel free to drive out at whatever time it suits you. But if you need any questions answered, please feel free to contact us. And obviously then you've got the app as well. If you get home with a Tesla, if you notice anything, you can always log it in with the app as well. So we felt quite comfortable. Yeah.
Yep, that's good. I got a question for Paul from Greg, one of our members. Paul, did they explain anything about charging speeds, etc.?
No, they didn't, because I didn't ask either. Yes, I knew that it came with a granny charger, a 10 amp charger in the boot, right? And we were shown that, and were told, by Justin there, that here's your granny charger, here's your, vehicle to load, right? And he showed us also specifically how to open the charge port on the right-hand side there. So he was very pedantic about that also. But charge speeds, no, I don't remember him saying anything, right? But we charged with 6 kilowatts of solar on the roof and get 6.1 kilowatts down through a Tesla Generation 3 charger with a Type 2 connection into the Atto 3. So that's not too bad at all, Charge is pretty quick here,
That's the same speed I got with our Gen 3 as well.
Yeah, great.
Sorry, Riz, you were going to say something?
Very good points. All of them sort of, Paul, you would have picked your wife's Tesla from Hendra.
Yeah, that's correct. Riz.
So that's that big warehouse over there. And I guess for our audience, Hendra is very similar, big warehouse like the Mulgrave warehouse. In Mulgrave, you don't really want to stick around for too long because it's not like the nicest place to stick around in. But apart from that, it's very much the same. I picked up my SR Plus last year and it was very quick. If you have the app, it's easy. Just walk up to the car and just drive out. You basically feel like the Amazon Flex delivery drivers because there's an Amazon Flex delivery warehouse behind that. That's how quick I was. We need to get the deliveries out there. But just on BYD delivery experience, I happened to drive past the Dandenong site today. It's opened. There were cars on the outside. I pulled up. I spoke to the people there. They seemed to know what was going on. There were people coming in, sitting in them, having a play around. and test drives are open as well in Melbourne for anyone interested. You just have to book in online.
Hey.
And
Go.
the staff were from Coffee Ford, which is the Ford dealership next to that. They're still waiting on their, they were waiting on their jackets to arrive. It said BYD on them, but they were very enthusiastic about the brand. I'm really interested in it and wanting to sort of share whatever they knew. And what they didn't know, they were happy to ask me as well as to what was happening, and they're willing to learn, and they're very open, which is not what you'd normally expect traditional sort of car dealerships to be like. So it looks like this Eagers partnership, particularly with the locations they've chosen, they've already given those teams a bit of a heads up as to what to expect with the new type of buyer they'll be expecting. So I found that quite refreshing, that these guys are genuinely interested. They're not there to, it's not the typical car dealership stuff of what you would expect when you go buy a normal petrol or diesel car. So it's a bit of a learning curve, and those that are going to be picking up their BYDs, it's good to ask questions and be a bit kind to the staff as well as sort of share what you know, because they're learning as much as you would be off them. That's not to say they're not knowledgeable about the product. It's just, a lot of people have done months of research, and they will know the product. It's just they may not know everything about it. So I think it's quite good. And there were would be over 50 Atto 3s I saw in the back section of that dealership. So they're all ready to go, and we're expecting deliveries in within 2 weeks from what Luke Todd said, in Victoria and other states as well, which obviously Queensland's also started. That's why we have Paul here telling us all about it.
Yeah, that's right. Riz, you are so correct in what you're saying, that everybody is different. I turned up with with 10 questions also that I really needed answering. And we went through them one by one. And he said to me, if I don't know the answer, I'll be back to you by the end of business today. And he got back to me, and he had the answers I needed, So, 10 out of 10. He did his research. He went and got the answers that I asked for and got back to me, so, and it's the different salesman now, it's all high tech. It's us old blokes who are early adapters doing something different now, Really
I wonder whether that's because that's a benefit of this direct-to-consumer model rather than the dealership selling you the car. There's no other incentive apart from just making sure you've got a good experience. I want to ask you, Paul, one of my pet peeves from buying previously ICE cars before the advent of EVs was, after you purchase or take delivery of your car, they bring you to a corner where they try and upsell you with a couple of accessories and some PPF or whatever. Was there any such thing like that at your experience?
Not at all. I could have ordered the ceramic coating or the upgraded interior and but I didn't, and there was no other mention of it. It was just, here's your vehicle, isn't it fantastic? And I said, yep, thank you very much. And there was, Lynn went over it with like a fine tooth comb and a magnifying glass and the light off the phone to make sure there wasn't any, dings or scratches or anything. No, it was immaculate. It was perfect, I remember we went to buy a Mazda, and they took the keys off us to go and check the trade-in on the vehicle we bought in, and we never saw them for an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did ask for my keys back in a rather abrupt manner.
Yep.
And so completely different aspect now buying a car, isn't it? You order it, you wander in and pick it up, and you get professional service. It's fantastic.
No, that's very refreshing.
Yeah.
There's a few comments I see in the chat about charging, and I think people may not understand the types of charging, fast charging, slow charging. So there might be something that might need to be addressed, I guess, for the new EV owner, which is the point for BYD.
Very much so.
I just want to read, this post was placed either this week or last week from EV Direct, which are the Australian distributors, now called BYD Automotive. I'll read this out. This is actually the very first delivery in Australia for a BYD Atto 3. It was a special day yesterday as the first BYD Atto 3 Australian delivery was made at Robina, which is in the Gold Coast. Couldn't have been a lovelier couple. Harold and Beverly live on 2 acres on the western side of Tamborine Mountain at Wangulpong, a place many of us probably haven't heard of, where a 74-year-old Harold keeps fit and health, tending to his property with its large vegetable garden, many fruit trees, 12-meter lap pool that Harold coolly completes 100 laps of each afternoon. Harold said the switch to an EV was his idea, 100% about the environment. Atto 3 is good price, great features. Looking forward to guilt-free motoring, not causing global warming, not killing people with poisonous exhaust fumes. At the start of the year, Harold and Beverly had a 15 kilowatt solar system. They're going to charge from solar, which is great. They've got 3-phase power, 7 kilowatt charger recently installed by an electrician. And they're going to make sure that on sunny days, they're going to be basically charging only from solar, which is fantastic. So that's a very good testimonial there from Harold and Beverly, the very first BYD Atto 3 deliveries in Australia. And this is them enjoying the new BYD Atto 3. Great pictures there from the public Facebook page. Yeah, it looks like quite a nice showroom there in Robina. I can see the lights in that sort of bottom pic there. Did you attend that by any chance, Paul, that VIP event?
I managed to get down to Robina to have a look at the opening air, and saw the blue for the first time. The blue Atto 3, and I thought, is it blue, or is it tealy blue or greeny blue, but it changes in the light, and of a morning it's kind of a tealy blue, and during the day, full sunlight, it's a blue. It really is good,
Yeah, that's true. Riz and I actually got to test the same press car, and I don't know about Riz's experience, but I found the same, Paul, was sort of changing with the light. Sometimes it looked blue, sometimes it looked teal. I agree.
Yeah.
It's fantastic the way it's sort of. Mine was a bit of an overcast day, and it would not be anything like what you'd see in the Sunshine State when you got the bright sun shining on it.
Yes.
But no, all the colors are really a lot of people say the white is silver in person. Even in those photos there, you can sort of see like a real light silvery. They really just shine.
Even a pearly white, Riz, you could call it.
Yeah, that's right. And the Tesla white is technically a pearly white, but it's not as pearly as this, and all the colors are like that as well. So it's really, really, really good to see. And I've seen enough of them now across the country to now know, even I saw about 6 of them at the dealership today, the quality of every single car, just from the outside and on the inside, looks immaculate. I know they're new cars, but it doesn't, you can't see any manufacturing defects. You can't see any. So it looks like they've really nailed the quality on all the cars that I've seen so far. Your sort of thoughts, Paul or Tom?
Well, my thoughts are that I compared it to the E6. And of course, the E6 is the Shanghai taxi, isn't it? Electrified, basically. Big doors that slam beautifully with BMW quality, if you could call it that, right? But to go from the Atto 3 from the E6, it's just another level. It is just, I can't help quoting that there's a lot of car there for the money. And I took the neighbour for a run this afternoon, and he says, look at the stitching on these leather seats. It's just beautiful. And I said, yeah, well, and as it got darker, we got talking out in the front street, and I locked it and I said, look at the lights on the back. It's very Porsche light, like on the back there with the lights display and the whole lot. I walked to go and unlock it. As I got near the car, the lights came on under the mirrors as I got close to the car. I just went, another surprise. I'm sure there are Easter eggs all through these cars that I'm going to keep on finding for the next 6 months.
Yep. No, the Atto 3 is exceptional value. The lighting is good, and look, it's obviously the interior is very polarizing. Some people like it, some people don't. But one thing you can't fault is the quality of the workmanship in the car, whether you like the colors or not. It's like, as you said, Paul, it's just immaculate build quality. It's a huge step up from the E6, which I've also seen. E6 is, I must say, fairly basic in appearance. I'm sorry to say, but the Atto 3 is next level. I agree. Yep.
And I also felt that, like, I spent half a day with it. I had to cancel my gym membership because just the dumbbells and everything else in the car, just like, what's the point
Yeah.
when you got it all in the car with you?
But Riz, once you see it live, shall I say, it's not that confronting. You sit in it and you think, oh, it's not that bad. It's not in your face. It is just edgy, and it's edgy. Let's call it that, and it's terrific. It really is. I'm quite amazed with it.
And there's a lot of, like, I really like the tactile buttons that it has for regen and changing the modes from sport mode. It's so easy to change while you're on the sort of fly. If you want to overtake someone, you can flick it in there, and it's all of those little things you sometimes forget about, especially if you like drive a Tesla or something like that. Those things are good in some ways to have as physical buttons, rather than going through a menu while you're driving, trying to figure out where things are at. So, and it's all done in such a subtle way. If you don't want to look at them, they're not there. If you want to use them, and some people may, it's good that they're there. So yeah, like you said, Paul, once you're in the car, or you're just focused on the driving side of things. Yeah. So it's quite good that way.
Yeah. Even the little speedo right in front of the driver is excellent. Speedo, battery, keep in the lanes, which I can't do, but all those things are right in front of you. You're in D for drag or drive, and you don't have to look over at the screen. It's all there, or it's on your left hand. So I don't know what all the buttons are on the left yet, but I'm trying them all.
You'll work it out.
I'm still learning.
And don't forget, these screens are all software update over the air too, I believe. So they may change, they may improve over time, which is great.
Yeah.
Greg's got a question actually, which I might put to our regular guests. That is Rahul, Riz, and myself. He's asking, are there any cars that tempt us away from Tesla? I guess more for me, because I've reviewed quite a few, and Riz has as well. I'll start with Rahul, actually. Any cars that you're tempted by other than Tesla?
Yeah, great question from Greg there. I have seen the Hyundai Ioniq 5. I was born 74, so I'm an 80s boy. I just particularly love the look of the Ioniq 5 with the whole retro look. However, the whole ordering system just put me off, unfortunately. With the drips and drabs coming into the country. I have seen a Kia EV6. Looks amazing. And I have also seen and sat in a Polestar, which would have been probably my choice. However, the Model Y orders opened up just in the nick of time. But I think yeah, just Polestar was also having issues with just getting cars into, I guess, Australia. And I think for some of your viewers, Tom, Angela and I had an order for the BYD, just from the price point, amazing value for what we would have paid or what we have paid for the Model Y. We would have got two cars, which in this day and age, most families have two cars, but we decided against it and went with the Model Y. Just ease of familiarity, charging, the infrastructure, and knowing the brand, the cost of service, which is minimal. We just decided we wanted to stick to what we know.
Cool. Thanks, Rahul. Riz?
Having done nearly 3,000 Ks in the last 4 to 6 weeks in a Polestar 2, different Polestar 2s, and I really would like to say I love that car. It's nice in so many ways, but there's a space component inside that car that with the transmission tunnel and all of the other things, it's a little bit off-putting. I am looking forward to the Volvo C40, which is, I guess, sort of a fastback version of the XC40, which I drove in November last year, and I was amazed by how good that car was. The XC40 Recharge, but as Rahul was saying, you can't get them here. But having driven the Atto 3, 4, The price point and what you get in that car, literally, if you buy that car, you can't go wrong with it. You know, it's good in so many ways, and in my humble opinion, it redefines what this EV uptake will look like in Australia over the next 12 to 24 months. Now that we've had the emission reduction targets have been increased today to 43%. There will be tax benefits. There will be a whole lot of things. I can see fleets buying hundreds of these as soon as they get the NCAP or the Euro NCAP rating, which for those, for our audience, there's the word on the street is it might be by 14th of October that we will get that rating on the ADO 3 as well. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they bring the FBT sort of tax benefits in, it's going to go crazy. And I can't see another product under 50,000 that can come close to that. So I would probably go with the ADO 3.
Cool, thanks, Riz. So some of you may have seen my video of the Genesis. I went to the Pitt Street Mall, Sydney store, and I think for that price point, it's about 100 to 120, depending what spec you choose. There's nothing kind of in that segment at the moment, I think. Everything's either less or more. So for that amount of money, I think that's a pretty good deal. I couldn't help myself. I was actually quite impressed with the build quality of that car. Like just everything has been thought of, very well engineered, great materials, screens was very easy to use. Just a very nice ground up EV built by Hyundai Genesis. So, I think for those who can afford in that segment, I think you'll get a lot of bang for buck for that 100 to 125k segment. Look, I suppose Tesla is the winner a lot of the times for people because of the charging network. We always harp back to that. Look, the other third-party brands are catching up, but Tesla still is the market leader, no doubt. Hopefully we'll see more ADO 3 owners do road trips and they can test the third-party networks for themselves, post on social media, get the third-party networks fired up, installing all chargers. I think that's the natural way forward. That's how I feel. We might move on actually to MG. Now, Scott McGregor, who's one of our regular members and viewers, couldn't be with us tonight, but he did want to share his picture. There he is there. Scott with his beautiful MG ZS EV Mark 1. He took delivery of this car in December 2021, so very much mid-pandemic there. And he was actually one of the first in the country to take delivery. In fact, that demountable building you can see next to him, next to the car, was I think the showroom still being built behind him there. So, very fresh there. And he loves his car, and he just had a few teething issues at the start of the delivery process. Sorry, not to 2021. This is, January 2021, not December 2021. So still mid-pandemic, but teething issues to get it registered. I think it's still sat on the dock for a while due to the pandemic once again. Some information constraints as well from the supplier and all that stuff. But he's been driving the car for the last year. He's been enjoying it. But he said he wanted me to tell you that being a member of a social media group like the MG Facebook page is very handy. Sharing information, I'm sure Paul will agree, through the BYD ADO 3 various groups in Australia and worldwide. Sharing that information is really useful from real world experiences. And the one thing that Scott did say that his concern about MG Mark 1 was the lack of over-the-air software updates. I think he had to bring it in to get it done via OBD. Takes a while. So that's one thing Tesla and I think BYD will have that advantage, and any other car manufacturer that offers that over-the-air software update for their cars, I think it'll refresh the car with each update. So that's the way forward.
The only exception to that over-the-air update is the Volkswagen cars in Europe. They come with an over-the-air update, but you have to take it to your dealership to get an update. So that's the only issues with the Volkswagen Group cars that, they claim one thing, but it's not the first time that's happened. So Dieselgate, that's all good.
That's right. Look, I'll just put up Sensei's comment because people are asking me about this as well. So as some of you may know, I went to the MG ZS EV launch last night at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Sydney, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So thank you, MG Australia, for inviting me. Look, I obviously had a very quick walk around the car because it was dark and it was very noisy, so I could only basically what you saw in the video is what I experienced. Look, it's a marked improvement on the Mark 1. Bigger screen, it's better features, and I guess an app is available now, which is great. Better range, 320 kilometers WLTP. Still not as good as Atto 3, I must say. Even with my range test, I got 360 on the highway. So I want to do a highway test as well with the MG. But much better car than the Mark 1. Now the cheapest EV, I believe, with their drive-away price, with the entry level, 46 Riz, I think, from memory. I can't remember exactly.
I think they bought it under 45. But I still thought the BYD Atto 3 standard range was 44,381 or something like that in a base white. I think. I'm not sure, but maybe there is some other on-road costs that BYD in the standard range weren't including. But yeah, it's a lot more affordable. The price has dropped.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's 51 kilowatt hour battery for the refresh, whereas Atto 3 is 60 kilowatt hour for the extended
60
range.
for the extended range, and the standard is 49.9.
Yep. There are a couple of things on the MG which I thought could have been added, like there's no power lift gate, whereas Atto 3 does. What else? There's no frunk, but I think the Atto 3 doesn't have the frunk either, so that's probably something that should be added for EVs moving forward. The materials, I still think, just quietly, the Atto 3 is probably built better internally. It just looks, again, the color's controversial, but I think the quality seems pretty good in the Atto 3 comparing the two. But I will officially do a side-by-side comparison with the Atto 3 and the MG, because that seems to be a very good price point for a lot of people, that sort of sub 50 or around that $50,000 mark. Yeah. I don't know, gents, what do you think between the two cars? Riz, Rahul?
Atto 3, purely because of what you get and the potential for over-the-air updates. And it's a ground-up EV. That's just, efficiency-wise, a good thing as well. And as the BYD brand grows, which I'm sure MG would as well, there's probably more apps and more flexibility on the infotainment screen as well into the future.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I think from my side, the BYD, I think, in my opinion, is a game changer for Australian EV adoption. Just the price point, the numbers coming in. Even if Luke Todd is saying that there's 4,500 orders for BYD currently, I just see that growing exponentially, given what, Riz, you just said today. We passed the climate change bill. I believe New South Wales, Tom, you covered this last week in your stream with the electric vehicle adoption strategy that the New South Wales government has got coming up to 2030, 2035. And I also believe that the New South Wales government is looking at EPA regulations for pollutants, which means that renewable energy, electric cars adoption, it's just going to go through the roof. The BYD just head and shoulders in terms of mainstream everyday adoption stands out.
Yep, that's a good point, Raoul, about being a ground-up EV, BYD, which is great. The question from Peter, I was going to highlight this point too, but it's not ground up. It's actually based off the ICE ZSEV version. So there's a very small transition tunnel bump in the second row, very small, probably a centimeter high off the ground, but still, it's a remnant from the ICE conversion, I guess, ICE platform. And Sensei, no, MG did not punish me for opening the trunk without their permission. They were very kind, actually. Someone came to help me and said, "Oh, you must be an EV engineer, so let me help you." So thank you, MG, for that. That was very kind. I'm not an EV engineer. I'm just a very curious consumer. But yeah, it was a good night. I was going to say... So, yes, I was going to say, Greg said the MG EV4 looks good, which
That's
is...
right.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see that car, actually. Do we have a date yet in Australia? Probably not. I think UK is probably first.
Yeah, that is a ground-up EV, the MG4. it's based on what their future EV platform that most of the EVs will be based on. No date in Australia. They reckon first half of 2023.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Here's one controversial reason why you might want to get an MG. So the warranty seems to be, and they're very, very clear on the night to make sure they make this well known, and also in the press release, that the MG warranty is very much 7 years, bumper to, well, they didn't use the word bumper to bumper, but it seemed to have less exclusions for both the battery, drivetrain, and the car. 7 years, unlimited kilometers, and of course, as we know, we won't go into it tonight, but the BYD warranty has a few exclusions with that, so we'll find out, won't we, Paul, if you need to warrant anything.
We sure will.
We don't want to open that can of worms tonight just yet. We've done that already. Let's move on just quickly to the next car. So this is with permission from Mal. He's from New South Wales, but he took a delivery of his Polestar 2 in Sydney, and he wanted to share his thoughts as well. So these are his pictures, and he actually... So the delivery centre is actually in Alexandria, which is in the south of Sydney, but he made a special request to have it picked up from Macquarie Park, which is in the north of Sydney. So again, Polestar were very kind to do that for him. He spent an hour and a half with the reps at Polestar. So, you know, that obviously not many Polestars are being delivered at the moment, so they had the time to do this, but he was very happy with the service, and yeah, he's a very happy customer. So good to see Polestar also taking the time with new EV owners as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mal, for that great work.
Tom, I might just add, I was over last weekend in the Gold Coast, and we did see a Polestar for rental in the rental cars area through Hertz Car Rentals. So I'm guessing, obviously, you know, car rental agencies are now starting to get some EV cars into their repertoire as well, into their inventory as well, because obviously, there's a demand for it, which is going to start picking up. So yeah, it's a gorgeous looking car, by the way. Yeah.
Yep.
It does look good. Yeah.
It does look good for sure. Yes, that's right. Hertz is worldwide. Polestar is part of their fleet now, and I think Teslas are as well. Tesla Model 3, and of course Sixt locally in Australia, branch of NRMA Rentals, well, owned by NRMA or associated with NRMA locally. So yeah, good to see rental companies offering EVs too. Indeed. Now, Peter's. Now, this has been an issue this week. I think many Polestar Volvo drivers having issues at Sutton Forest EV. Cable pulls down at the wrong angle and the car won't lock onto the plug. Riz and I had that little road trip to Canberra. That seemed to be an okay. Riz, I didn't see any issues during our charge.
Yeah, maybe the other charger's working now. Maybe it's the other one that wasn't working last time because it was fenced off and we couldn't test both of them.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it seemed to work okay at that time. Yep,
no, it sure did. Now, Paul's going to be with us for the rest of the night, so if you've got any other questions for Paul regarding BYD deliveries, leave that in the chat. We can pop it up on the screen as they come. But what we'll do is we'll keep going with our slides, and of course we're going to do our regular segment, which is EV trends with Riz. So let's push along there. I love this segment. All right, Riz, let's go through some of your charts. Here we go. There we go. New South Wales Tesla uptake.
Awesome. So we touched on this in the last stream with the New South Wales government, but you can sort of see the big jump that we've had between July and sort of August. So the Tesla fleet grew by over 18%. You know, so the total number of Teslas on New South Wales roads grew from 8,800 to 10,400 nearly, which is quite a bit of a spike. And that's, you know, the first set of deliveries that have come in. And from now on, I think we'll be seeing regular deliveries from Tesla Shanghai. So it'd be interesting to see how the Tesla fleet alone grows in New South Wales, being the EV leader in Australia at the moment. And it would be even more interesting to sort of track the uptake of BYDs as in states like New South Wales, Queensland, and the rest of the country as well, and see what that trend looks like. So yeah, pretty exciting. I'll have more charts and more numbers for next month once we get them from transport from New South Wales.
Yeah, fantastic. Here's this one. I like this one. Tesla New South Wales deliveries color breakdown for August 2022. No surprises here, really.
So we've got white. So obviously at the moment we don't have the breakdown on Model 3 versus Model Y. So we will get that by the end of this month. So I'll create some more pretty charts for that time.
Yes, please.
To give us a better idea of the breakdown of what those two look like.
Yep.
But yeah, it seems to be majority are white, which is cool. And grey, what is it? Midnight
Metallic
silver.
midnight silver.
That's right, MSM. Yep. That's also relatively popular, and then blue, black, and red. So yeah, I guess people are not willing to spend the $3,000 odd or $2,900 on the multi-coat red. But yeah, that white seems to be the dominant color there.
Yep. No, fair enough too, for financial reasons, of course, as you highlighted. Here we go. Australian used Tesla trends.
Yeah, so used listings are skyrocketing. So, but the good thing is that at least the prices are starting to come down. People are not asking 140 grand for a Model 3 Performance anymore. And as more and more Model 3 and Y deliveries come in, it's just going to improve. Maybe the listings may go up, and we don't know when that's going to peak. But at least the prices will start to come down. So people looking at getting a car sooner rather than waiting 6 more months or whatever the wait time is these days, the used prices will start to come down. So keep an eye out. You might find something if you're looking for an EV for family or friend. You might find something that's good value over the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep. No, we chatted about that last week, didn't we? Prices are starting to peak for sure. Here's one for Byd Growth Analysis. I think these are global numbers.
These are global numbers. So this is what they're sort of producing. And you can see since February, pretty much every month has been a month of growth. August is their highest production number ever. They've also produced 1 million. They call them new energy vehicles because they do include some plug-in hybrids as well. But yeah, they produced over 1 million cars this year. So, it's not a small sort of startup like Lucid or others that we know. These guys are mass producing, and the numbers are only going to be going up. Just on that point, I did sort of come across this today. Thailand is going to have the next BYD right-hand drive production plant with the capacity of 150,000 vehicles to begin with. I'll have to dig into the numbers a bit more, and at the moment it's just a bit of an announcement. I'm not sure if that's monthly, if it's yearly, or what it is, but once we dig into a bit of those numbers, I'll have that for the audience as well over the coming weeks. So Thailand, they call themselves the Detroit of the East because they seem to make the Ford Rangers and the Tritons and the Honda Civics and the rest of them for us. So you never know. And they have some interesting EV incentives in their local market. So you can buy an Aura Cat there already.
Wow.
And other brands. So it's interesting to watch that market. And Thailand's very keen to bring a lot of big Chinese manufacturers specializing in EVs to there. So we'll see these BYD numbers grow over the next 12 to 18 months as they open more plants and deliver more cars to new markets.
That's cool. We might get some made in Thailand BYDs coming to Australia, potentially. Now here's a good one for obviously Model Y. Let me just show you this one. But I think this will be good also moving forward as BYD deliver more cars too. Yeah,
so this is sort of till the end of August, looking at the total EV sales for the year. First month Model Ys have been here. It's already number 2 on that list. Obviously Tesla with the Model 3s. They delivered, I think, 2,500 Model 3s across the country. So, yeah, it's already looking quite well. Kona may do I think their numbers would be pretty consistent. So they may finish the year with 1,200 sales, but you can see Model Y is already in the first month is already pretty much up there. So should be good to see.
Indeed. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one for BYD. Question for Rahul. What color is your Model Y? It's blue, isn't it, Rahul?
No, it's actually white.
Oh, it's white. Okay.
Yep,
Apologies.
base color. Don't have to pay anything additional.
And
It's got the
is
white
best-
seats in it though.
That's
It does have the white seats, and it does have the 20-inch induction wheels as well. So yeah, it's
Nice.
splurged the extra $2,500 for the factory paint elsewhere.
yes, and white is best for hot, sunny Australian summers anyway. Point by P2N. Thank you for that. All right, let's. Well, thank you, Riz, for that as always. So, if you want more information from Riz regarding Australian EV data and reports, you know where to look. Carloop for Riz's charts and figures. Thank you, Riz, as always.
Thanks.
EV events. If anybody in the chat or watching on replay has any EV events coming up in your local area, email me and I will pop it up to promote it in the next stream. So always happy to promote EV events Australia-wide. Oh, I love this segment too. Charger eye candies. Let's whip through these. Feast for your eyes and what to aspire to when we see worldwide charging locations. So this one is local. This is Rahul's picture from Altona. Is that right, guys? Altona, Victoria? Ampol?
Yes.
Nice. What do you think, Rahul, when you went there?
Yeah, look, really, really good location, well lit up. The fact that there is a 24/7 cafe, toilets, showers there, and the chargers are also open 24/7. Without having to access a parking garage and then pay additional, to get into the garage and then use the charger as well. Really easy to access. It's off the Westgate Freeway. Easy to get to. Look, the fact that there's only 2 chargers there probably is the only con for me. I believe probably in the next 12 months or so, it's going to be more cars, more EVs. But there's enough room there to expand and put in more chargers there as well. So yeah, fingers crossed. But in terms of location, great. I think until the end of August, these chargers were free. I got in just in time, but they were only charging, I believe, Riz at 50 kilowatts.
Yeah, I think it was pretty low, 50 to 60. And I'm not sure if they've been, amped up now.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Now these ABB chargers are only 200 amps, by the way. So most modern EVs are 400 amps. So that's something interesting to note. Sorry, Paul, you were going to say something?
I'm just going to ask what the cost is then for to charge at your local Ampol garage.
I think it's 60
cents. Yeah.
60 cents.
It is 60.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, now that it's charged. Yep.
Yeah, just like a supercharger then.
Well, the
Supercharger
supercharger's
price.
69 now. It's gone up. There you go.
We're a bit
Everything's going up.
spoiled in Queensland with the Queensland Superhighway still charging 30 cents a
Nice.
kilowatt.
Wow.
Very nice.
Sunshine and cheap EV charging. What more can you ask for in Queensland?
There it is.
So good. Now we normally put up DC pictures, but I couldn't help myself. I put this one up because I visited a car park in Sydney with this pretty cool installation here of an AC charger. I thought that was quite neat, quite well signed. You can't miss it, right? Surely these won't be iced, you would think. But anyway, good. Good. Go. Yeah, I know, Paul. Doesn't stop some people. It's very sad.
Especially the 4-wheel drives.
Yep. I'll take a pic if I see it iced. Now this one is an update on the wireless taxi charging in the UK. We popped this up recently, well earlier this year when it was being installed, but looks like they're being operational at the moment, which is great. This looks like a Nissan or Peugeot.
Yeah, Nissan.
Nissan?
They do quite a bit over there in the van and sort of the taxi space, and it'd be great to see them. I mean, there's a lot of utes out there that are not used for what they're supposed to be used for, and those guys could easily do with an electric van. So really looking forward to getting these type of vehicles here. And yeah, wireless charging, looks cool.
Yeah. It's very good. And I think Bjorn might have done a test as well. He got 50 kilowatts, someone was saying earlier.
Ooh, have to check that.
It's pretty quick.
Right.
Yeah. We'll have to take a trip to the UK, gents, maybe have a look and business expense for research.
I think they have some change there this week, so it might be worth visiting now.
That's right. Now this one's also from the UK, the Eurotunnel Source EV box. So some Tesla chargers I can see in the background and some other branded third-party DC chargers too. So that's cool. Nice. This one is also AC chargers in Glasgow in Scotland, UK. Whole line of them. It's great. I know that brand, EO. We'll see them here in Australia as well. This one is Shell in UK, Eastleigh, Hampshire, UK from Faraday's, and also an ABB charger. It looks very much like our Ampere ones, doesn't it? And this one's cool. This one's in York in the UK. Oh, these look like AC chargers too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an MGZS refresh. Look at that. How topical. That's good. All right, let's move on to Spotted. So if you see any unusual EVs in your travels, if you're watching this on replay, email them to me. I'll put them up in the next stream. So this was spotted near Gigafactory Berlin. Looks like someone spotted this in their car. Saw a Cybertruck on a tow truck or on a trailer being driven by. That's cool. I thought these were only going to be built in Austin, in Texas. So, interesting. Okay. No charging news this week. But again, if you guys see any local charging news updates from... Well, I guess we talked about Tesla increasing their rates, but that was from last week. But yeah, email them across to me as well. Let's quickly roll through some Tesla news. So I might leave this for next week because we're running out of time. But Tesla released some operating sounds because people do ask about sounds in the Tesla. What do they mean? So check these out. These are in the Tesla website now for if you're not sure what the sound in your car. Tesla's got a little nice reference website there too. So we'll run through that next week if we've got time. So Tesla supercharger prices jumped sharply. There we go. So up to 68-69 cents per kilowatt hour now. Network expansion plans hit delays in Australia, which is a shame. And the Model Y rear-wheel drive dropped in the UK this week as well. So there we can see £51,990 for rear-wheel drive versus 72,000 Australian dollars on the right. You can see there I did a little conversion with xe.net on Google, and 51,990 equates to 87,847 Australian dollars. So we seem to be getting a bargain here down under for our Model Ys. So not a bad thing at all. And there we go. Raul, we talked about this. Yep, so confirmed. Lots of Tesla Model 3s and Ys in LA for Hertz Rentals, so it's great. Good to see. And headline here from Teslarati: Tesla sales swell 105% year on year, considerably more than any other company. Yep, but we will watch BYD, of course, won't we, Riz? Coming months.
Could be very similar.
Yeah, that's right. And this is fresh from yesterday. Tesla obtains funding to build 4 massive superchargers, including world's largest, I think 164 stalls somewhere in the US.
That's correct. It's in California, 164 stalls in Coalinga in California.
Amazing. 164. Numbers we can only dream of here. Amazing. All right, let's run through some BYD news. And as we know, BYD updated their servicing this week as well with a very long email. So I read through it all, explained a few things, but in short, I guess, this is what they are proposing. So 2 options, average $299 for a standard car user doing roughly 20,000 kilometers per annum over the course of the 8 years. Or option 2, you can do a fixed price of $189 per year if you drive less than 60,000 kilometers over 5 years. If you go over that, then I think they up it to the option 1 again. I think just from what my understanding is. Paul, do you think you'll be driving 60,000 kilometers
In the 5 years,
5
yeah.
years?
We're always doing a run from the sunny coast down to Brisbane, which
Mm.
is 250 k's return.
Yep.
Sometimes we might do it 3 times a week. So yeah, I'm in amongst that.
Cool.
And that's cheap, really. Compared to an old Hyundai van that I had.
Yeah.
And there's the free servicing as well, I believe, for the first year for those order holders that had their orders in before the end of August.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Oh, well.
Yes. It's a
You
nice little
beauty.
perk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, look, I'm glad BYD Automotive in Australia listened to some of the feedback online. So they're listening. They're watching and listening to us. So thank you. Now this is interesting. So BYD is coming to the UK. Confirms 2022 late autumn, which will be our late spring. Sorry. So that's maybe October, November. It's good. It's good that BYD is expanding to other right-hand drive markets. It's great they'll be watching us for once, right? With our experience. So it's good. Let's quickly run through some other news in the EV world. So now I love this pic here. It's not really news, but still fun to see. So this is a shot that was taken 13 years apart, 1900 and 1913. You can see in the top photo only a few motor cars amongst all the horse and carriages. And then 13 years later, there's like one horse and carriage amongst all the motor cars. So there you go. It's hopefully something we can look forward to. The first Model S production car was 2012. We're now 10 years down the line, 2022.
Yeah. I think the takeaway for me from that is that new technology adoption is slow, but once it takes off, it's exponential. And I think that's what we're going to see in the next 10 years or so here in Australia.
Yep, 100%. Charles, hey Charles, nice to see you on the chat there. And he's just said WA state government has announced they're getting 40 plus Kempower C series units. Excellent.
Ooh.
Thank you, Charles. Charles is in the know there, so thank you. Good to see Kempower chargers here. Now, I put this picture up because I wanted to show this news article here. Toyota ranked last among world's top vehicle manufacturers for climate performance. Toyota, it's time to get serious. Come on. Got to get your EVs out here. It's the future. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it.
They have the Mirai.
Time to get serious, Toyota. No, they've got that EV concept car, don't they? The B, whatever.
Yeah, the BZ4X that they launched, people bought, and now they want to buy it back off customers because it won't charge in colder climates and a whole lot of other things. And word on the street is that in China, they're getting BYD to build most of their EVs.
Interesting. Yeah. Just going to say it now, Toyota, don't go through that Kodak moment. Come on. Get with the times. All right, gents, that is pretty much it for tonight. Any final comments at all? I'll start with Paul, actually, our guest. Any final thoughts?
I've got a quick announcement. The Australian Electric Vehicle Association is having an EV show at Cleveland Showgrounds on Sunday. So for people in Queensland who want to go and see a whole range of EVs, I think he's got 100 going on the Sunday for display and for rides. And to show the whole, EV experience. So just thought I just remembered it, actually. Thought it'd be better know. And for me, I'll just keep driving my Atto and having fun. Driving is now fun. And it really is, So thank you very much for the invite. It's been great to meet the three of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's been great having you on, actually, and sharing your experience. I think a lot of people are looking forward to taking delivery of their Atto 3. So good to have you talk so positively about the experience at Indooroopilly in Brisbane. So thank you once again.
Thanks, Paul. I'm sure it will drive like a dream. So yeah, we look forward to hearing more what your experiences are like, and I'm sure hundreds of others will be picking theirs up as well. So thanks, Heath, for sharing your experiences. Just gives people confidence because a lot of them. Even yesterday when they had the Melbourne launch, spoke to a fair few people, and they're just customers, have never seen the car before, and that's all they wanted to do, just to be there, to be able to see them in person.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing your driving or your delivery experience and everyone else that shared theirs tonight. It's really, really important, because the more people know, the better their delivery experience will be, because they will know what to ask and what to look for, and be more sort of happy to wait for answers, because the delivery people are learning as well. So thanks heaps for that.
Thanks, Riz. My pleasure, mate.
Thank you to our regular guests, Riz and Rahul. Thank you, Riz, as always, for your data and your charts. Always very interesting. And thank you, Rahul, for sharing your experience with your recent Model Y delivery.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Paul, for coming on to the stream tonight. And well put, that driving is fun now. I look at it in this manner, is that I find driving to be guilt-free now, because my car has 0 emissions. And the fact that, I'm providing a safer environment, not just for my children, but for other future generations there as well, means that I can drive and ruin a weekend guilt-free.
Fantastic. Thanks, Raoul.
Thanks everyone, and thank you to everyone on the live chat as well for all your comments and engagement as always, and thank you if you're watching on replay for making it this far as always. All right, gents, have a great night, and thank you everyone. We'll see you next time, and as always, happy charging.
Bye.